Side. I'm already, so you're still on. Thank you everyone for coming in today. I just want to give a brief update on what's happening here in the city today. The National Weather Service obviously has put out a winter storm warning from 6 a.m. this morning until between 8 and 11 p.m. tonight. We will be getting snow throughout the entire time. We're going to get heavy snow in the city at least through 9 o'clock. We're expecting totals between 12 and 18 inches of snow. Wind gusts up to 40 miles per hour. We're going to have a lot of blowing snow out there, a lot of poor visibility. I want to thank everyone who stayed off the roads today. A lot of people stayed out, and we're able to get our streets and be plowing on our streets, but also keep down some safety on keep safety on our streets. Tonight's going to get very cold. Our low is going to be 10% with a wind chill of -6%, and many of your stations have been reporting this all day, so thank you for that as well. The coastal flooding advisory will be lifted at 1 p.m. High tide was this morning at 9:31, and we know that there was some flooding on Marcy Boulevard and other parts of the city. I want to thank the state for their work in making sure that they kept those roads safe and also was able to divert people. Snow emergency went into effect this morning at 10 o'clock, and it's going to stay into effect until further notice. We'll make more announcements on that as the day goes on. Our Emergency Operations Center we activated at 8 o'clock this morning. We're all staffed up in our public safety, basic city services, and public health agencies. The parking ban is on main thoroughfares. And reminder that it's also a public safety issue, so it's not just about getting our cars off the street to plow curb to curb, but it's also public safety issues. I want to thank all of you, and then the parking lots. We had the discount parking garages are in effect. If anyone has any questions, you can go to boston.gov/winter, and we had a really good support from homeowners and renters in the city that were able to get their cars. The majority of people got the cars off the street. There's very little issues there. Boston Fire Department and EMS have added capacity today. We so far have had no major incidents. DPW, Public Works, has over 700 pieces of equipment out in the street, and they're out there working now, plowing. We pre-treated the roads overnight and early this morning, and now we're in the process of cleaning the roads. The flex posts have been removed on Mass Ave and Congress Street. I spoke about this yesterday. That's the dedicated bike lane. That will be removed again until the snow stops and we're able to clean those lanes up so we can make sure bicyclists can get through there tomorrow safely. We're working with our partners on our homeless folks out in the communities. We got a call about an hour ago from a woman living in her car over in Charlestown, feared to be sleeping with the engine running. We're working with our partners to make sure that we get everyone into a shelter. The reason for that story is that if you see somebody out there that might be living in their car or something that's out of the ordinary, we ask you to call 911 on emergency situations. We're also asking you to call 911 anything that you see that is a potential emergency situation. We want to make sure that we don't have situations where people are sleeping in their cars, where their exhausts get backed up with snow, and we have carbon monoxide problems in the car. We had a tragedy 3 years ago in the city. BCYF, Boston Center for Youth and Families facilities are all open until 6 p.m. tonight. Many parents have used those facilities as a daycare and a place to be able to have their kids go today. We're closing libraries at 1 o'clock today due to the fact that we didn't have a lot of foot traffic there, and also to keep it safe so we don't have people going around as much as to try and keep people in their homes. Tomorrow we are going to close Boston Public Schools due to the fact that the time continues to move on the end of the snowstorm. We want to make sure that we're prepared, so I'd rather err on the side of safety for our children to make sure that our streets are safe, that they're plowed, and that there's no situations out there, and that kids that with 18 inches of snow, you'll have some difficult visibility as far as snow banking and things like that. So we're going to close schools tomorrow, heading into a weekend, and just I'd rather be safe with our kids than not. Trash and recycling. Today we had a better than expected collection pickup. We asked people to put their trash out an hour early. I want to thank you for everyone who did that. Your trash was picked up, so I want to thank you for your help there. Tomorrow we plan on having regular trash collections. We want to ask people to put your barrel in a location that can be accessed by the by the companies that remove trash and recycling. So when you're shoveling tonight, just keep that in the back of your head that there's an opportunity here to make a space so that the folks that do the trash can get to the curb. We're also space savers, a hot topic with everyone. Space savers are allowed in the city right now, and they'll be allowed up until about 48 hours after the snow emergency has been lifted, except in the South End. The South End has a different policy that there's no space savers in the South End. So when the snow emergency gets lifted, that's when we'll begin the clock starting on the space saver issue. We're requesting that people stay off the road for the rest of the day. Dress warmly. We will ask people, when you do shovel, we're asking you to shovel your sidewalks, try and create a 48-inch path so we can make sure that our city continues to remain handicap accessible. We also want to ask you to shovel out the hydrants. If you see hydrants or crosswalks, handicap crosswalks that are there, we ask you to shovel them if you have one in front of your house or on the corner of your street. Be helpful there. Tomorrow we will have fire department out shoveling out fire hydrants to make sure that we get the rest of them dug out. They'll probably actually start tonight when the snow ends. Code enforcement is out on the streets. So we're asking you, do not shovel your snow on the street, do not plow your snow on the street. We will be out there, code enforcement, in violating anyone who does that. Again, it's about keeping the streets clean and allowing opportunities for cars to get by, because we will be plowing all night long. We're asking people to clear the catch basins if you have a catch basin in your front of your home as well. So when the snow starts to melt, it won't melt over the next couple of days because we're having very cold weather, but once it starts to melt, we want to make sure the catch basins are open so that the water can run off from the snow. We're asking you also, if you have a handicap parking space in and around your home on your street, and if it's empty today, if you could help and shovel the spot out. Maybe if a bunch of neighbors can get together and shovel some handicap spaces out, just so that we can make sure that anyone that has handicap parking or placard, if they're not in town today and they come back tomorrow, they have an opportunity to park in front of their home, or if somebody needs a handicap parking space. We're asking you to look out for your elderly neighbors or people who are vulnerable. Just check in on them as the day goes on. Make sure that they're okay and if they need anything. Again, if there's an emergency, 911 is the call. If there's a non-emergency call, you can call 311 into City Hall. Our 311 call center is up and running, and our 311 app program is up and running for non-emergencies. Yesterday, we took over complete of the whole day, 24-hour period. We took about 2,000 calls. Today, by noon, we had taken 1,200 calls in the city. 95% of those calls were answered within 30 seconds. We have 55 staff and volunteers on the phones, so we're going to continue to, if there's a slow pace in answering the phone, that just means the volume coming into City Hall. It does not mean that there's nobody here. We have the phones fully staffed and lined, and we're going to try and move through those calls as quickly as possible. Our Office of Neighborhood Services, our community liaisons that monitor the neighborhoods are actually out in the neighborhoods today. They're driving the streets, monitoring to make sure that streets are being plowed. And if there's any questions, you still call 311, but we have our coordinators out there kind of as an extra set of eyes to make sure if they see something out of the ordinary that they're going to be able to address it. And last thing I'll just say, again, I've repeated this a couple times, non-emergency situation questions, you can call 311. Any emergency you see out there, if you see somebody out in the street, you see somebody struggling, you might be concerned about something, call 911. Our police department is ready and waiting for calls, our fire department, so we will handle any emergency calls. I think I covered it all, but with that, I'll open up for questions.
Mayor, how does this storm compare to last storms, and what have you been able to improve upon here in the city of Boston since last winter?
Well, I wouldn't say last winter because we had a kind of a mild winter. The winter before, you know, I think it made us, we were well prepared in 2015. We actually changed a lot of policy in 2014. But in 2015, we just got hammered after hammer. So what people will probably see on tomorrow and on Saturday is a removal process. And we have the truck-mounted snow blowers where we're going to be taking snow off the streets. So you're going to see a lot more snow being taken off the street. So in case we get another storm like this right behind it, which I don't think we have, I think we have an inch or two coming a couple of days later, we won't have the situation where we have, 8 feet of snow on our streets. So there's really going to be an opportunity. But we're pretty much in, one thing we've done different this year is we've taken the Office of Neighborhood Service Coordinators, Jerome Smith is the chief, and in the past they've been on the phones here, instead of having them on the phones, we have them out in the neighborhoods, viewing what's going on. They have a direct connection to Public Works or Transportation or whoever they need to talk to. So we're having a lot more communication with what's going on in the street. So if I wanted to find out what's happening in Jamaica Plain, I'd call the coordinator from JP, ask about a specific street, couple minutes, I get a response back.
But all of this could cost, I know you certainly had estimates.
No, I haven't done it yet. We haven't done the cost estimate yet. This is going to cost a significant amount of money. I can get the numbers for you in a little while. I don't even want to begin to guess what this will cost because I'll give the wrong number and I'll be quoted on it for the rest of the day. But this is, the last storm we had this year, we had some plowing going on and we had some salting going on. I think it's $1.5 million, $2 million storm maybe. This is going to be a little more than that.
Shelters and that kind of thing.
Our shelters are open. They're open 24 hours. We put additional staff in all our shelters. We're trying to encourage people to stay in the shelter. We're coordinating very closely with Pine Street and the other shelters in the city to try and keep people inside as best as possible. Now, you can't hold them against their will if they want to go outside, but we put on additional staff to try and encourage people from staying in. The difference between this year and 2 years ago was our men's shelter. We were using the South End Fitness Center last time. There really wasn't an area for people to be able to kind of congregate other than the bunks. In this particular storm now, we have a whole new built-out kitchen area. We have a sitting area. We have TVs, so people can stay in and not have to stay in the bunks. They can actually kind of go a little bit around. So we have a lot more room for folks that are our homeless folks that we're housing in the city.
Mayor, the MBTA has said that there's very low ridership and it's working well. Do you think maybe people expected it to work a lot less well, given what happened?
Well, I think people, generally when there's a storm, they get concerned, and I think the T has made some investments over the last couple of years to be able to clear the tracks and be able to move the trains along, and I think I haven't seen it physically up front, but I've seen on TV what some of the equipment they have, and it's pretty impressive stuff. It's similar to what we did when we bought the truck-mounted snowblowers. We haven't really had a chance to use them. Actually, we sent them down to Baltimore last year to dig out Baltimore because they needed help. So, as these storms come on, as technology comes online, we learn we learn to buy different things. And, in the past, snow plowing was snow plowing, and today it's really plowing/removal. So it's a little bit more than just the exercise of pushing snow from one street to the curb to the other side. We're actually going to be removing a lot more snow off the street. And the T's doing the same thing.
He's doing a good job today.
For all indications, we're hearing all good stuff. I mean, Gina Van Dyke, my transportation, she's not here, she's over here. We haven't heard any complaints about the T today, which is great. And we haven't heard many complaints at all yet. But again, this is the beginning of the storm. It's going to pick up as the day goes on. As you look out the window, it's very difficult to control this type of storm. It's not coming down. It's going sideways right now as you look out the window. So it's going to be complicated to clean this. Mike?
Looking at overnight as far as removal and what do you expect the commute tomorrow morning to be like?
Well, as long as everyone works with us on the snow emergency and stays off the main thoroughfares, our main thoroughfares are going to be open, obviously. They're going to be open. At some point, we'll lift the ban on parking. Our side streets should be good by the morning. We're going to be working throughout the day. The issue we're going to have at some point inevitably is that a lot of our plow drivers started this morning at 8 a.m. By 8 o'clock tonight, it's going to be 12 hours. By 8 o'clock the following morning, it's 24 hours. There's not a lot of downtime for them. So we have to figure out how do we allow them the opportunity to rest and bring shifts in so that we can keep the snow off the street. But I anticipate, assuming the weather stops snowing by midnight tonight, we'll be ready to go tomorrow. Now, if the snow continues into 3 o'clock in the morning, that's a different story.
Mayor, you referred to removing the snow. Where are you going to put it?
We have a couple snow farms. Where are the snow farms?
3 municipal lots throughout the city. Yeah. So we have 3 different municipal lots, 3 different parking lots where we have snow farms in the city, one in the southern part of the city, one essentially in the heart of the city, and one in Charlestown. Those are the first 3 that we'll be targeting for snow removal and snow farm placement.
And we will not be pushing any snow into the ocean. I mean, that's something we didn't do in 2015, and we certainly are not planning on doing it in 2017.
Putting the snow in the parking lots that's going to prevent people from being able to put their cars in the lots?
No, different lots. These are lots we've identified specifically for snow farms. It's something that we have to plan on. We start planning this really in August and getting snow farms ready in case you get snow. I mean, at some point you have to do something with the snow. So hopefully in this particular case we won't have the farms we had back in 15, at least not right now. But we're prepared for it in case we get 10 feet of snow.
very often that can lead to power outages.
Yeah, power, we had, yesterday, we had in Parks and Recreation in here, obviously with trees. If there's any down trees, what we're gonna try and do for the short term is move them off the roads and then go back and deal with them tomorrow. If any trees go down, if any power lines go down, we're gonna be working with the utilities. They're part of our conversation with both us and the state. So if a power line goes down, again, do not call 911. We will get the fire department out there to deal with it, as well as, depending on the different utility, and also our own folks, whether it's Parks and Recreation, or if there's an issue on water in your home, water and sewer would be the appropriate call. Again, it's gonna get very cold tonight. I said this yesterday. I know we're off subject a little bit, but check your pipes as well, because if power lines go down and pipes burst, it causes a lot of frustration and confusion in someone's home.
Do you enjoy being mayor during a major snowstorm like this? How do you like it?
Well, I have it down now, you know. People like to hear the, 700 pieces of equipment and the, 300,000 tons of salt. It's not, I wouldn't say it's enjoyable, because there's always that fear of somebody being hurt. And I think that, certainly I'd much prefer to have a 60-degree day in February if we could. We're prepared. But again, it's more on the safety side. The reason why we're canceling school tomorrow is because of safety for kids. I mean, we want to make sure that they're safe out there, and that, and again, if it's a bad, somebody asked, I think Mike asked me a question on the back, by not having school buses on the roads tomorrow will probably help the commute.
Are you riding?
Message to Boston.
Say it one more time.
Can you just recap your message to the people of Boston?
Just basically that we have a winter advisory in effect until about 9 to 11 o'clock tonight. We have 700 pieces of equipment on the streets that we're working on right now, removing snow, plowing snow. The coastal flood will be lifted at 1 p.m. We have emergency, snow emergency started at 10 o'clock this morning, in effect until some point in the future. I'm not sure exactly what time we'll lift that. Libraries are closing at 1 o'clock in the city of Boston. Boston Center for Youth and Families facilities will stay open until 6 tonight in the city. We have schools in Boston will be closed tomorrow, and due to making sure we lift so we have all safety. And also, if anyone sees anything outside the ordinary, non-emergency, call 311. We have 55 operators on call right now, and the average answering time is 30 seconds. So if it's a little longer than that, just be patient. It just means that the phone lines are jammed. In any emergencies, dial 911. I know you have to go back outside in the snow, so you can sit here as long as you want before you go back out. You can say I ran over long.
Are you gonna go and look
Probably
around?
gonna spend a lot of time here. At some point, a little later tonight, I'll go around just to make sure. But again, I'm telling people, asking people to stay off the roads and having me out there doesn't necessarily make sense. We do have people out there, so if need be, I will go out and check it. And I just want to thank, the public for your patience, and I want to thank all the crews out there, both city and state, for the work they do. I mean, they earn their money in a storm like this, because they take a lot of pride in what they do, and they want to make sure that we have the city up and running tomorrow. Thank you, everyone.